Testing. Looks like we are good to go. Turn on the music here, huh? Well, it's not really music. It's just a chant. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Red Seat live stream. My name is Corbin. Thank you very much for being here this evening. Who do we got in the chat? Mr. Money Mike Madness. Always one of the first people here. I appreciate you, Mike. Brandon, the mighty Boston. How you doing? Ride it out. Jack. What's going on, my friend? Exist. How you doing? Crutch. How are you? Crutch. By the way, February 2nd for your mouse pad. Meek, what's going on? Brother, you still don't have your giveaway? All right, Meek, do me a favor. Email me your address again. I'm just going to flat I'm going to, maybe I'll send you something different. This is unbelievable. I'm so sorry. Robbie, my moderator's here. What's going on? Manny, how you doing? Wallace, what's up? New member, Wallace, what's going on? Corbin's Corn on the Cob special. You know what's funny? My nickname in high school was Corn Bin. What's up, assuming Tim McCastro is wicked good? What's up? Yeah, you should have my email, Meek. I'm gonna send you something. This is unbelievable. I'm not happy with those guys right now. What's up, Spencer? Living the dream. Celtics are on. Let's go C's, huh? Nothing new about second base? Not really. What's up, Red Snake? Did the Sox should trade for Rafael Devers? Man, wouldn't that be an interesting trade, huh? What's up, Bob? How you doing? I need that nickname on a shirt, Cornbin. I'll just put like this Red Sea logo on the back of a shirt and just sitting in it. It's a giant corn cob. Thoughts? Sup from Arizona. I bet the weather is better over there than over here. Man, it's been miserable this week, huh, Chad? How many of you guys are from New England? We got like easily 2 feet of snow here. Easily 2 feet of snow. Don't trade for Devers. He's a lefty. Oh, right. Lineup balance. I forgot about that. I forgot about the lineup balance, chat. This is going to be an interesting stream. This is going to be an interesting stream because what I really wanted to do in this video was sort of... oh, yeah, true. Anyone from the South, too. Make sure you guys are staying safe, man. The South got pelted with ice. My coworkers are from the South. I need you to come get your weather. No, I'm good. You guys can keep it. Bring back Bogey, brother. I've been saying that. I've been saying bring back Bogey for weeks now, and nobody's listening. They got you? Yeah, dude. They found you. Nowhere you can hide. How do I feel about Jaron Rand and Roman Anthony being ranked 1 and 2 respectfully in the Shredder rankings? All right, Meek, I got your email, brother. I'm just gonna send you something. It's not gonna be Red Sea merch because apparently they whatever. But anyways, you'll get something. What is Shredder, by the way? It was like MLB via Shredder. What is Shredder? Like, is it somebody? Am I an idiot? Like, is it a singular person? No, the guy's name is Brian Murphy. Who is Shredder? Can someone tell me who Shredder is? Wait a second. I got it. Chat, I figured it out. We're going through this together. Hold on. If Cedar Rafael is a second baseman, I'm heated. Okay. Shredder is using rankings based on past performance, various offensive and defensive metrics, including both advanced statistics and traditional numbers, and analysis by the MLB Network research team. The Shredder produces a list of the 10 best players at each position. He's the villain in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? True, I forgot about that. Man, what a great TV show, chat. Anyways, so they basically put a bunch of statistics into this, used sort of the human eye aspect with the MLB research team and popped out this list, right? And so the list is, by the way, Duran 1, Roman Anthony 2. I don't disagree, right? I think One thing I will say is Tyler Milliken brought up Tyler Soderstrom. Tyler Soderstrom should be on this list, although I don't know how they worked this out, right? I also think it's interesting that Roman Anthony's on the left field list, but Tyler Soderstrom isn't. Like, to me, Roman Anthony was a right fielder last year, right? I don't understand how that works. I guess, like, are they going out based off of, like, where they think he's going to play next year? Or this year, I guess, would be the right way to put it. But yeah, I mean, Jarren Duran makes sense, right? He was a great player in 2024, solid-ish player in 2020. Solid-ish is the wrong word. Good player in 2025. I had no problem with him being number one on this list. I just to me, I don't understand how it was calculated. That's all. But yeah, hell yeah. You know what I mean? Hell yeah. I'm interested to see what their center field and right field rankings look like, because if they have Roman in right field as well, like how does that work? You know what I mean? What's up, Ernie? 64 degrees here in Vegas. Brother, that's a whole lot better than the 11 degrees it's here in Massachusetts. I had someone, by the way, on one of my videos the other day. They're like, Corbin, you got to stop faking an accent. Can I promise you guys one thing? One, I don't think I have an accent, and two, I don't fake anything. They're gonna have Roman as number one DH. That's kind of what I'm saying. Like, how does this work, right? Steven Kwan, yeah. Like, where are they considering? Like, how many games did Steven Kwan play last year? You had to cancel practice. It was so cold, man. That's crazy. Okay, Steven Kwan. I don't know. Like, Steven Kwan had a great year last year. I don't know if I'd consider him a top 10 outfielder in baseball based on what he did offensively this year. I mean, defensively, he's always good, right? Defensively, he's solid. But, like, how many games did he play in left last year? Like, this is what I'm confused by. So he played almost every single game in left field. Did Roman even get... How many games did Roman play in left field? If anything, it's the more impressive part is that Roman's ranked as the number 2, and this dude, well, he played 19 games, but still, like, of his 52 games, he spent 36 of those in right. I'm just confused. General Northeast accent. See, that's kind of what I would say I have here. We need to test the accent now. Corbin, please say... Get some chowder by the harbor. There, see? No accent. What's up, baseball? How you doing? What did he have in the minors? Who? Say Water? Corbin, see, you guys telling me to say stuff. You guys telling me to say stuff makes me think about what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Dude, so much snow in Massachusetts. Just an absolutely insane amount. Corbin, we have so many starting pitchers, only 5 spots available. Who is most likely and the best fit for the bullpen? Kyle Harrison, I think, is definitively going to be in the bullpen. I would imagine at this point, Patrick Sandoval's probably in the bullpen as well, I'd imagine. And I low-key kind of imagine that Cutter Crawford's also going to be in the bullpen. But the thing is, you're not going to see any of these guys in the bullpen in spring training, right? You're not going to get an idea of who's actually in the bullpen for the Red Sox until probably opening day. Because the smart thing for the Red Sox to do would be to stretch all of these guys out as starters, right? Because it's much easier for a pitcher to go from a starter to a bullpen role than it is from a bullpen role to the rotation. And by doing so, I think what you're enabling yourself to do is, one, in case anybody gets injured, right? It happens every year. Someone gets injured and you end up, needing someone in the rotation. Two, let's say, they're gunning for Conley Early in the rotation, whatever it may be. Conley Early comes into spring training and things are out of whack, right? He did something this offseason that, his changeup isn't changing anymore. The curveball is sitting middle of the zone. He's just getting crushed. Well, now they have the option, instead of being like, last year they were kind of like, look, Christian Campbell, this is our dude. This is who we're going with. Doesn't matter what he does in spring training. This is who our second baseman is. They don't have to do that this year. They might do that, but realistically, what they could do is they could just take the better performance and not just simply ERA. I'm talking movement on the pitches. I'm talking talking, ability to hit the strike zone. I'm talking about, as they get deeper into spring training, how does the velocity hold up as they're going 3 or 4 innings, that kind of thing. You know what I mean? How many innings did we get up here? At least 20, I think. Close probably to 25. Yeah, I ended up with 30 inches west of Boston. Man, I'm right there with you. It had to have been 25-ish. And then we got another 5 inches the night after. How soon do you think we see Kyson Witherspoon? It all depends, in my opinion, right? You kind of there's a little bit of a gap. Peyton Tolley was such a unique player where, last year it was like, okay, he comes in, right? First, I mean, he just sort of dominates a high A. He gets to triple or double A, and it's like, all right, the ERA is fine, but also he only played 15 games there. You know what I mean? And then they're like, look, we're gonna see what you could do in AAA. And again, you see the numbers, and it's like a .87 WHIP, 10.2 K per nine, a 1.2 walks per nine. Like, yeah, if this is the same path Kyson Witherspoon is on, you could potentially see him in September. The thing is, the difference is though, is that you now have 7 starting pitchers ahead of Kyson Witherspoon. So my guess is you probably either see him potentially in a bullpen role down the stretch, and that's if they desperately need it. And 2, I think more realistically, you probably see him in 2027. I could also see them trading him a little bit. I don't know. 9 degrees where you are? Yeah, it's about where I am too, Shane. After the video Early did with King with Juco, Early was pumping 96. Oh, yeah. Did everyone see that, by the way? Let me see if I can. You think that's on? It's probably got to be on. You know who probably tweeted it out? I thought that was the first video, dude. Yeah. I knew this dude did this. Okay. If you guys missed
we're
it,
here, baby. Let's ride. Now we go.
Conley Early went on King of Juco. That first pitch is unbelievably funny. We're just going to sit here. The Shane is looking raw. Dude, that's the slider at the end of this video is sick.
Doing that.
Like, it's so sick. We should watch the whole thing. Why not?
It was 92.9. You're fine.
But imagine just like King of Juco getting in the box versus Conley Early. First pitch is at your dome. And it's 95 on the outside corner. He calls this a ball. It could have gone either way.
It's 95. It's 8:30 in the morning. What is wrong?
What do I think of the C.J. Abrams rumors? The Red Sox aren't in on that.
Oh my God.
Like, dude.
I'm getting away with heaters at the bottom right now.
Like, I get it. The King of Juco, he's not. That looked mean.
What was that?
He's not, he's not
Strike.
the biggest level of competition you could face. But it's still cool to see, a little bit of Conley Early doing some live ABs.
Okay, we're battling.
Like, he's just messing with this guy. This is going to get me action, probably. Come on,
Is that a
that's sick.
slider? Yeah.
I love seeing Conley Early do stuff like that. Do you think there will be a baseball in 2020? I do. I think baseball's in too good of a spot to allow themselves to take an entire season off. To me, it'll probably be a lot like it was going into, what was that, 22, right? What up, Nate? How you doing? I'm sold on Early. I really think he's gonna have a solid year, help the club a ton. Yeah, I think a lot of these pitchers are gonna help the club a ton. The bigger question to me, and I said in my video today, I think a lot of people are sitting there and being like, what is the bullpen gonna look like? And it's a valid question, but like regardless of what the bullpen looks like I think you're in a pretty good spot. I think to me, when you're looking at what's the bullpen going to look like there's a reason the Red Sox didn't really, push themselves. Like, they were in on a couple of dudes, but they didn't push themselves to sign, a significant left-handed reliever or a significant right-handed reliever. And I think, it's because, again, you go to this, let's just take a look at the 40-man roster here, right? You look at the bullpen right now, and it's like, okay, this, in my opinion, probably won't be the opening day roster, right? I really hope Jordan Hicks isn't there. But in terms of lefties, you sit here and you're like, okay, is it Giovanni Moreno, Aroldis Chapman? Is that it? I kind of don't think so, right? I think you got Patrick Sandoval. I don't know where they have Kyle Harrison. I'd imagine here. Yeah, you got Kyle Harrison. You've got Shane Drohan. I don't think they're going to have – I really don't think they're going to have Peyton Tolley or Conley Early in the bullpen. It seems like they've made it pretty clear they don't want that. You know, three of their non-roster invitees relievers, or two of them, are lefties, right? I think this is sort of exactly what you're looking for. Spencer Steer from the Reds. What about him? Is it possible to trade Hicks away, or do we suck up the contract DFA him? It's a really good question. I mean, the problem is if you want to trade him, right? The problem is if you want to trade him, you're gonna have to eat most of his contract. Like there's still like tiny things in here where you sit here and you're like, can they do something with this? Yeah. Like I don't know, dude. Like you go back to 23 and it's like this is a dog, right? But you know, now you're looking at that being what, 2 years ago, 3 years ago at this point, right? You're probably gonna have to give away a lot of money for someone to take him. Like at that point, is it worth the Red Sox trading him? You know, in my opinion, too, I think I think the Red Sox are going to kind of be like, I refuse, right? I refuse to give up on this because of the money they've invested in it. So I do think Jordan Hicks is going to be on this team starting opening day. I don't know how long he's on this team, right? And I think that's the question we should be asking. Like, if he ends up, you know, coming into 25, 26 and looking exactly like he did in 25, like, yeah, you give him what, maybe a month, and then you got to say, no, dude, sorry, goodbye. Because one, you're trying to compete for a World Series, right? Or at least that's what you're telling us. And two, you've got so much depth in that spot, especially in the right-handed spot, right? Like you go back, I mean, you could put Cutter in that spot. You could put not Shane Drohan, Uberstein in that spot, Sandlin in that spot. You could put like you could even go lefty with Kyle Harrison. You've got Seth Martinez isn't a prospect, so he's not on this list, but another guy who was invited as a non-roster invitee to this thing, right? So you sit here with all of it, and you're like you just have too much depth to give this guy such a long leash. And so I think that's kind of where you're at with Jordan Hicks. I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt because you've had success before and because we have so much money invested in you. Plus, how old is Jordan Hicks? He's not even 30 yet, right? So is there a chance that you sit there and you're like, okay, what was he? He was the 583rd best reliever in baseball last year. So I don't know. Like, it's like, you know, you sit there and it's like, you got to do something. You know what I mean? You got to do something. Speaking of doing something, the thing that I wanted to kind of focus on today is having a conversation about whether or not the Red Sox will do something. Right, because it feels like it's been a kind of, I wouldn't say foregone conclusion, but I would say a majority of both both national and local media saying, and let me skip that actually. Both national and local media sitting here saying, you know, we think. Yeah, that's fine, Meek. Just I'll shoot him your address. We think the Red Sox are going to do something, right? A lot of people are saying they think it's going to be a relatively impactful move. In my opinion, as we get closer to spring training here, right, you're kind of on a deadline. And it's not really, like, if you look at the trade market, there's not really, or really the free agent market too, there's not really a deadline for either of those until August 3rd this year, by the way. They announced the trade deadline earlier today. But there's sort of this, what's the right word for it? Not superficial, I guess we'll say unofficial deadline, where teams will get to spring training and especially with trades, they'll sit there and they'll say, okay, we weren't able to move, you know, maybe it's Nico Horner, maybe it's Ketel Marte, maybe it's, Isaac Paredes, maybe it's Matt Shaw, maybe it's, whoever here, right? But they sit here with this and they say, okay, we couldn't get this done in the offseason. Let's just roll with the team we have now. Let's see how this works out because, as we all know, injuries pop up during spring training, poor performances pop up during spring training, all sorts of stuff here, especially with the WBC going on. Teams are going to be a little bit more cautious. If the Red Sox don't get a trade done before spring training, it's going to be really difficult for them to accomplish a legitimate, like, Nico Horner or, I've seen Zach Neto, said a lot. Like, it's going to be impossible. Like, teams aren't going to want to move those guys until the deadline. So you're kind of up against it here, right? Spring training, I mean, pitchers and catchers report for the Red Sox in 12 days, 13 days. So you've got essentially 13 days, which is probably right around the time where every other team's doing it too. Where you're sitting there and you're like, we got to figure out exactly what we need to do and how to get it done. And it sounds like right now, a lot of the targets, the natural known targets for the Red Sox, they just aren't lining up. Whether it's, Isaac Paredes, they want Durant, or they want Willie Abreu. I don't think that would be smart for the Red Sox. That would make no sense. There's a reason why that trade hasn't been done. It doesn't sound like the Cubs are particularly interested in trading Nico Horner unless they get absolutely blown away, and clearly the Red Sox haven't blown them away yet. Matt Shaw kind of in a similar boat, it feels like to me. I keep seeing C.J. Abrams a couple of times brought up. Who was it that tried to trade for him? The Giants or something tried to trade for him, and they weren't able to meet Washington Nationals price. I would be really nervous going for C.J. Abrams too. It just doesn't feel like something's clearly lining up, which is why someone brought this up. What, last stream? I've seen it a couple of times this stream. This would be kind of an interesting name, right? And it's not exciting and it's not fun. Or it's not exciting and it's not that like, oh my God, this is the dude type signing here, right? But Luis Rengifo has had, before this season, right? 2025 was a dud. You know what I mean? 238, very sub 3 on base percentage, terrible slugging. It was a 73 WRC. It was a 73 WRC plus. But you go back to between 22 and 24, and you sit there and you're like, okay, he hit 273. He only struck out 16% of the time. 433 average, or 431 slugging. It was 39 home runs, so it's a little bit of pop, right? He was close to 7. He was close to 20 a couple of years here. 111 WRC plus. The defense isn't, especially at second base, it's not terrible. You know what I mean? It's serviceable. Well, never mind. I was looking at errors. Defense is not incredibly serviceable at second base. Not a good defender. Maybe this isn't the right guy. I'm talking through this as we're on stream right now. I'm talking through this while we're on stream right now. Isn't he 40? I don't think is he 40 years old? There's no way he's 40 years old. No, dude, he's not even 30 yet. He's going to be 29 this year. So that was the other conversation I was going to have, Joe. That was the other conversation I wanted to have with you guys. If the Red Sox can't get a trade done, which I do think they're trying to do, but again, if you're talking about this deadline here, right? It's essentially you've got 12 days to figure this out before teams go. You know what? We're gonna let this ride out at least for the spring. Maybe we'll readjust what we're talking about by the deadline or maybe a couple months into the season or whatever. Okay. So if you can't get something done, then does Christian Campbell become more of a valuable player? Actually, let me go to Baseball Reference because they have the chat. You guys were supposed to remind me last week to buy a keyboard, and I forgot. So remind me again. Anyways, does Christian Campbell become more of a valuable player? Right? I understand the defense was terrible last year. The defense was terrible last year. Some of the worst in baseball. But it's just, this is a tough conversation because you sit here and there's not really a ton of like, this is the answer, right? Like Romy Gonzalez to me feels like the answer, right? If you're not gonna go and get anybody, it has to be Romy Gonzalez at second base. The problem with putting Romy Gonzalez at second base is you need a platoon for Marcelo Meyer. Now, is that platoon going to be like look, yeah, you could throw him to the Wolves and say, hey man, I hope you figure out how to hit lefties because you're going to be facing every lefty ever. I don't know, like how many lefties did he even face this year? Can't be a ton. Yeah, he only played 27, hit 154 with a 185, 230. Hit an 18 OPS plus. It was a 416 OPS. Like you cannot throw this guy to the Wolves. I get it's 20 games, but you can't throw this guy to the Wolves and say, hey man, good luck out there, right? So it's tough to put Romy Gonzalez into an everyday spot when he's so good at doing exactly that, right? Like Marcelo Meyer, if he only plays righties or majority righties, I'm going to get to that in a second, Michael. Marcelo Meyer played a majority righties last year. He was an average hitter, right? And if you get this from Marcelo Meyer for most of the season, you're in a really, really good place, right? Like that's a 6th or a 7th hitter in your lineup. That is a lengthening player in your lineup. Now, you add in the combination of Romy Gonzalez, and now you're sitting there and you're saying, okay, so now you get a league average bat, which I imagine Marcelo Meyer is going to be a little bit better than a league average bat, but he's going to be facing mostly righties, right? You come in here and you have Romy Gonzalez with guys against lefties, and all of a sudden you're looking at a very good combination for your third base spot. Now, Nate Eaton is the other guy I wanted to talk about because you may be sitting there saying, okay, is there a cat somewhere in here? Anyways, what up, Mark? You may be sitting there saying, okay, maybe it's Nate Eaton, right? Maybe Nate Eaton plays third base, and he played it pretty well, I think, last year for the Red Sox. We can look at that in a second. Just doesn't do as well against lefties as he does against one, righties, but two, Romy Gonzalez, right? Like to me, I think Nate Eaton becomes that perfect, like off the bench type player. He's not really the huge platoon guy. And I think that's what makes this interesting, right? And again, you sit there and it's like, okay, Corbin, it was 21 games, He's still at 279. There just wasn't any power against lefties. Not that there was a ton of power against righties either. That was kind of the difference between the two, right? Like, literally, I think the only difference is, in terms of slugging here, is that one home run. Like, you look at everything else, and it's like, yeah, you had the same amount of doubles. He had, 2 less RBIs, but I don't think anyone's really worried about that. More walks. Right, about the same amount of strikeouts. So I think that's interesting. I think Mikey Romero will have a great shot at the job. I would love to see Mikey get a real chance here. I just think, like, with Mikey, like, you're right. He finished the season really well. I think they want to see, and he talked about this himself, so it's not going to be me crapping all over the dude, but he talked about this himself in the interview that we had with him. He really wants to work on his defense. And I think that's fair, right? It was decent this year, but it wasn't terrible. But if you're going to come up and play second base, it's got to be a spot that you're going to be comfortable in. And I don't know, especially playing most of his games at third base last year, by the way, he was a better third baseman. Right, he was a better third baseman than he was a second baseman in AAA this season. I think the Red Sox are going to want to see him put the effort, and I don't doubt that he is putting in the effort, right? So I'll be interested to see kind of how the Red Sox play Mikey Romero this year. I think there's a reason he wasn't traded this offseason. I think they probably pretty easily could have put him into this any of these trades and maybe kept one of these pitchers, but they decided not to. Right, and yeah. I don't know. I think they want to see more consistency from the bat, and I think they want to see better defense. But Like he wasn't god awful in AAA last year, but there were clearly things that he needed to work on. He's going to be 22 this year. Nick Sogard. So Nick is kind of my wild card here because Nick becomes, if the Red Sox don't do anything, Nick becomes a really, really interesting piece of the Red Sox offseason. Because this is a guy who could play second base, this is a guy who could play third base, this is a guy who could play first base, he could play shortstop, right? He can play whatever the hell you want him to. Absolutely crushed lefties last season. Like, it's interesting, right? Like, you've got, like, so here's the thing. You've got enough platoons options on your team where, like, to me, here's how I think this goes, right? Here's how I think this goes. I think if the Red Sox decide, okay, look, we're betting on Roman Anthony being a superstar, which I think is a solid bet at this point. We're betting on, Masataka Yoshida being healthy. We're betting on, Tristan Casas to potentially come back at some point. We've added Wilson Contreras. He's going to be solid. Cedar Rafael's taken a step forward every single year he's been in Major League Baseball. What the hell is this bobblehead? There's no way this bobblehead's real, right? That's the most realistic bobblehead I've ever seen in my life. This is just a Photoshop. This is a Photoshop. Am I going crazy? Someone photoshopped this. This isn't a real bobblehead. Someone just joined this stream for baseball analysis, and they're getting this, and I apologize. Buy it and review it. Should I, chat? I mean, it's $80. It's a steal. That's crazy. I've never seen that. Even the bottom's all photoshopped. Like, look at over here. Like, that's just perspective warped. Anyways, sorry, chat. What was I talking about? They did it to everybody. Look. They did it to everybody. By the way, members, do me a favor, head over to the member community tab. There's a couple options for the members only stream. I want to see what you guys look. All right, so I put this out there. This is nothing to do. I'm totally off base here. So it looks like tomorrow's going to win, but I just wanted to give you guys the option, either carry over tonight's stream into a members only or do it tomorrow separately. Anyways, all right, let me, where were we? Oh, right. Okay. So here's my prediction for if the Red Sox sign absolutely nobody. If the Red Sox sit there and they say, look, we're just going to see what we got. We're going to bet on Roman and Cedar and Wilyer and Duran with Story and Contreras to kind of centerfold this lineup, right? And we're going to piece together the other two infield spots. Like, they're not in a terrible place. Did they get worse in the infield with losing Alex Bregman, not picking anybody up? Yeah. But I think you look at this and you're like, okay, the combination of Marcelo Meyer, Romy Gonzalez, Nick Sogard, Nate Eaton, and even low-key David Hamilton, at least defensively here, you could piece this thing together, right? You put Marcelo Meyer at third base, you platoon him with either, Nick Sogard would be my pick, considering Nick, I think, was the better defensive third baseman last year. Let me see. I don't know how many appearances he got at third base. Yeah, he was a solid third baseman, right? This is just, Nick Sogard is just the everyman's player, right? He was good in 24 for a couple of games. He was decent. Like, look at this. He played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 positions last year. Not a single one of them negative defensive run saved. Right? So you platoon maybe those two over there, and then at second base you put Romy out there most days, and maybe you stick David Hamilton in there when you need when you need speed or defense or whatever. Right? So you're in a bad place in terms of, hey, you don't have the star power, but I don't think you're in a bad place in terms of you don't have any talent, right? It's not like the Red Sox are going into spring training being like, hey man, like the only option we have is to stick Marcelo Meyer at third base, who, you know, hasn't played a game in AAA yet, and that's just sort of is what it is. It's interesting. It's interesting for sure. Yeah, Brandon, that's what I was saying. Like with Marcelo, like we went back to this, and Marcelo, again, he's going to face mostly righties this year. That's how the organization likes to do it. That's how Alex Cora likes to do it. And you go into this conversation, I mean, we already talked about Marcelo a lot in a video here, but I mean, there's not really much to talk about, so we'll talk about this anyways. Like he was a league average bat last season, his rookie season against right-handed pitchers. You think that's going to get a little bit better now that he's got a little bit of experience? Yeah, I think it does, right? So now you're talking, let's say he's got a 110 OPS plus. Let's say, you know, the OPS gets up to like 145. Or, sorry, 145. 745 here. You know, he adds a bit more home runs. He's hitting around 250, 255. Like, yeah, that's a good, decent, you know, guy specifically, in my opinion, to be that sort of bridge between the middle of the order and the bottom of the order. Like a number 7 or number 8 hitter. Right, and I think that immediately lengthens your lineup. So you're looking at this and you're like, okay, well, what is the Red Sox lineup looking like coming into opening day, you know, with if they don't get anybody, right? Because, like, I made my case for Eugenio Suarez today against him, right? I will fight that tooth and nails. I just think unless the Red Sox open up the DH spot, because here's the thing, right? I've seen a lot of people push back and be like, Corbin, you know, almost every other year he's been an average to league average third baseman. It's not entirely true. He's had league average to above league average range. Every single year his defensive runs saved have been negative. Basically every single year he's had over 10 errors. He's also led the league in errors a couple of times at third base, right? Like he's just not a good defensive third baseman. He's got range, but you can only have so much range. You got to figure out what to do with the ball once you get to it. So, like unless you have like there's just so much that you're putting on Eugenio Suarez being a decent third baseman. It is, right? Yeah, with the team, I think it's specifically with the team you have. It's specifically with the team you have. Like if the Red Sox had, I'm trying to think of like so if the Red Sox had got Nico Hoerner and they didn't have Marcelo Meyer, and you were looking around the infield and you were like, okay, you've got Nico Hoerner who's the best second baseman in baseball in terms of defense. Wilson Contreras was one of the best defensive first baseman in baseball last year. Story was terrible in terms of his errors. I mean, just awful in terms of his errors, but you know, that decent defender's still there where you could sit there and you could say, okay, he could get back towards league average. Then you could sit there with Suarez and you're like, okay, yeah, maybe, right? But you don't have that Nico Hoerner there. You don't have that certifiable, he's going, like you have Marcelo who's going to be a good defender, but he also hasn't played a full season yet. And you don't know what you're getting from the bat. What do I do with Hamilton, Eaton, and Yoshida? Yoshida, to me, should get a decent bulk of DH innings, I think, at least to start the year. I do think there's still a chance that he becomes, you know, a decent, you know, 5 or 6 hitter. Hamilton, I start in AAA. And then Eaton, I think he comes off the bench. Sign Kopech? Why? Who cares if you get to the ball if you can't field it? That's kind of my point, yeah. Who's a great teammate? Suarez? I'm sure he is, and that's fantastic. Last year he injured his hip, which causes a decrease in his numbers. Yeah, but the problem with that is you could sit there with all the excuses you want. He's 33 years old, right? So how many times is he going to get injured going forward, right? Is that like the injuries are going to become more apparent as he gets older? Like it's going to be, everyone keeps saying, oh, he was better, you know, earlier in his career. Yeah, you're not getting 2022 Suarez, you're getting 2026 Suarez, who's 34 years old, who was dealing with injuries last year, who made 16 errors at third base last year. You know what I mean? I don't want Ozuna. Ozuna is a DH. You already have essentially 2 of those guys, right? You've got Masataka Yoshida. At some point, you're going to have Tristan Casas. You still have 4 outfielders. You got to figure out how to fit those guys into it. So you got to figure out where you're going to put those guys every single day, because those are probably going to be the bread and butter of your offense. You know what I mean? Like you can't keep Jarren Duran on the bench. You can't keep Roman Anthony on the bench. You certainly can't keep Wilyer Abreu on the bench. The only bat that would be relatively okay to put on the bench is Cedon, but like he's gotten better every single year, and he's the league's best defensive player. So, you know what I mean? Like you got to figure out how to play those guys. Those are going to be the difference makers in your lineup outside of Wilson Contreras. So you can't go get a guy who's only a first base, who's only a DH. The lineup at the Red Sox kept everybody. Oh, okay. First base, Devers, you're already off. Second base, Bogarts. I do think Bogarts would go to second base. Story, shortstop. Bregman, third base. Right field, Betts. Center field, Cedon. Jarren Duran. Roman Anthony, was he a comp pick? Was Roman Anthony a comp pick? What are we getting into tonight? We're talking potential lineups here. I bet they DH Duran a lot this year. They're gonna have to DH somebody, right? Like in the outfield, you need those bats in there. You gotta put that to use somewhere. Yeah, I don't disagree that I think Duran will get a lot of DH, but I sit there with Duran and it's like you play like he's not an inserviceable outfielder. He's not, right? Like he had a tough time last year, but he placed the wall really well. Like I think you'd figure it out. I don't know. There's so many answers. Roman will get a lot as well. Yeah, I think the DH spot will be split, but the problem is, what are you going to do with Massa here? You know what I mean? But think about how much fun he'd be at Fenway. But that's fine, Spring. But that's yeah, Eugenio Suarez would be really fun to watch in terms of home runs at Fenway Park. But that's it. I already talked about this, right? Last season, he quite literally only hit home runs. That's it. He only hit home runs. He wasn't a good defender. He wasn't a good contact guy. He didn't walk a lot. He quite literally just think home runs. Duran was just literally named the number 1 left fielder. Yeah, but you're running. But here's the problem, Nate. You're running into a situation where Roman Anthony's right behind him, right? You've got Cedon Rafael, who's the best defensive center fielder in baseball, and Wilyer Abreu is probably going to be top 10 right fielder as well in a loaded position. He should be, at least. He's a Gold Glove defender who can hit you 30 home runs. So someone's got to not play the outfield. That's just how it goes. How bad is Massa defensively on the metrics? I don't think he's ever played enough outfield in Major League Baseball for us to sit here and debate how much that is. But Duran won't want to DH. That's fine, but someone has to DH, and at some points, someone's just drawing the short straw. That's all you can do. Massa, not a good defensive player. Bad arm. He played 33 innings in the outfield. He did not. He played 40 innings in the outfield last year. I only remember one game, and that one game was when Duran almost killed him. You remember that? They're both running for the ball, and Duran almost. Imagine your Masataka Yoshida's 5'8", 5'9", and you're running at a fly ball, and in comes the human truck that is Jarren Duran. Dude, your poor Masataka Yoshida, perfect running form, right? He's out there looking like Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible. He's like, oh, dude, I got this thing. He turns around, he sees a Brinks truck coming at him. I think trading Abreu would be valuable for a good infielder. Yeah, but you could say that about any of those guys. You could literally say that about any of the outfielders. I think you get but the problem is right now is you don't have enough offense for us to sit here and debate which outfielder is best to move. Because at the end of the day, unless you're getting an infielder and a pitching player, at least a couple of prospects here, right? You're going to have to, ultimately, you're going to make your offense a little bit worse. You're going to make it a little bit more balanced, right? Because now you can play Cedon, Wilyer, and Roman Anthony every day, or now you could play Duran, Cedon, Roman Anthony every day. But are you making it better? And that's the question, right? Would you rather have one position that's totally out of whack or one situation on the team that's totally out of whack, but a better lineup? Or would you rather have the, perfect sort of mesh together roster that's a little bit of a worse lineup? That's the answer, right? And I don't think Craig Breslow wants to do that. I don't think Craig Breslow wants to lose a trade, as someone just put in the comments here. Have a nice night, Wallace. Thanks for being here. I don't know. Oh, that's sick baseball. I think I'm going to opener too. You think Roman? I think Roman is probably a better defender in the corners. Yeah, better off letting the infield figure itself out than giving someone away for less than we need back. Yeah, I think that to some degree that's right, but how aggravated are fans like Mark? I think I just saw you in here too. Like, let me ask you. Everyone sits there and says Duran can't be traded. Wilyer can't be traded. Okay, so are you going to complain when Duran's sitting once a week or Wilyer's sitting once a week or whatever? I don't know. Because that's what's going to happen, because you got to put, unless you just straight up DFA Masataka Yoshida and open up that DH spot completely, you can only play 9 guys a game. Key Brian Hayes and Matt McClain. Well, Matt McClain is definitely not going to happen. Someone said Spencer Steer too. I haven't heard that name in a minute. I haven't heard Spencer Steer's name in a while. What are you going to do with him? He plays first base in the outfield. Like, I remember him back in 23 being like, hey, this is a solid player. But, like, you can't put him at first base. You got someone there at first base. We can't put him in the outfield. You already have what, 5 outfielders, 6 outfielders? Those 2 aren't sacred. No, they're not sacred. You're right. But don't you think it's interesting the Red Sox haven't DFA'd Massa yet? I mean, he only has 2 years left on his deal, right? I think this would be the year if you're going to do it. Like, I get not wanting to DFA him last year. That's fine. He was injured. Yeah, so he's only got 2. He's got this year and next year. I like Massa too. The problem is he doesn't fit on the roster. He just doesn't, right? If you had 3 outfielders and let's say Christian Campbell, right? You didn't have Roman Anthony, you had Christian Campbell. Then you sit there and you're like, okay, well, Christian Campbell could be your 4th outfield. You could platoon him with Duran, who just simply hasn't been able to figure out lefties all that well still, right? You still platoon those guys, and that works. The problem is you don't. Right, you have Christian Campbell, but you also have Roman Anthony, who can hit both sides and is the star of your franchise right now. He's the face of your offense. Right, so you got to find a way to balance all of these guys. And if you can't, then the only answer is Masataka Yoshida DFA. Or you sit Jaron Rand or a Roman Anthony or Wilyer Abreu once a week. And or more than once a week, probably, right? Once a series, you sit one of those guys. So Duran was just named the number 1 outfielder. He's come far to learn the outfielder, but didn't he come up? Now, I'm not having the infield conversation with Duran again. I would love Nico. Yeah, Nico would be incredible. Nico would be absolutely incredible. It just sounds like there's no way the Red Sox are trading them. One of Bayo, Conley Early, or Peyton Tolley. They're definitely not trading him Peyton Tolley. But that's what the Cubs are looking for 1 year Nico. A player to be named later for Kyle Teel. Oh yeah, why didn't we think of that yet, chat? If we don't make another move, Cedon's going to have to play second base occasionally like last year. I actually don't think he will. Easy. It makes it easier to fit all 4 of your outfielders, but Cedon's too valuable in the outfield to put him at second base. You've got Romy, you've got David Hamilton who can come up, you've got Nick Sogard who can play a good second base. I don't think you need to put Cedon in the infield. Trade Marcel Meyer, Jaron Rampage, Tolley for Skubal. I mean, it'd be cool to have Skubal and Crochet in the same rotation. Yikes. You know what I mean? Like, that would suck. Let me ask you this, Minnesota. If you were to see the Red Sox trade all those guys for Tariq Skubal, what do you think the odds are that they give Tariq Skubal $300-400 million? What do you think? Anybody with David Hamilton? Yeah. Hey, David Hamilton is a good defensive player at second base. Makes no sense holding on to so many guys. We can't play all. Nico would be a great fit. I agree, Michael. I'm just telling you what's going on here. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just telling you reality is that right now the Cubs are here and the Red Sox are about here. And unless the Red Sox come up here, they're not getting traded because there's no way the Cubs come down here. Don't tell money, Mike. Yeah, don't tell money. Oh, you already heard it. I feel like every time I tuned in, I saw him making some heinous throwing error at second base. Yeah, throwing's not great, but he can get the balls. Real question, do we think Skubal makes it a free agency? Yeah, for sure. I don't think the Red Sox will be super in on him, though. How does Campbell factor in this year? I have no idea. I genuinely have no idea. They've been saying an outfielder. They want him to be an outfielder. The only thing I can think of is he platoons with like Duran and Willier a bit. Mostly Duran, because the Red Sox want to see if Willier can hit lefties. Duran kind of can't, right? And it's not a huge knock on him. How bad was he last year against lefties? Sorry, guys, I'm a little stuffy today. He was kind of bad against lefties, huh? Kind of really bad. So, like maybe they put Christian Campbell as a platoon between, Duran. How is Willier Abreu against lefties? How is Willier Abreu against lefties? Little better. Not much better, but a little better. He only had one home run. Why did I think he had a couple? Yeah, I'm going to miss Bernie too. MLB, the show, fantasy blockbuster type idea. Ellie De La Cruz. Yeah, I kind of thought about making a video about that. I made a video about like wild trade ideas I had that are never going to happen but are fun to talk about. By the way, people did not like that video. I will not be making another one of those. Don't worry. I just thought it would have been fun. I don't know. I tried to have a little bit of fun with it. People didn't like me having fun. Okay. Anyways, what was I saying? Oh yeah, I almost put Ellie De La Cruz in there, but there's not a chance. How many years does Ellie De La Cruz have? You'd have to give up probably Marcelo, Peyton Tolley, and Arias just to even get the conversation going. Kind of a low-key a little bit overrated. I will say that. Like a little bit of, like he's still a good player, but he strikes out a ton. Right? Fast for sure. Not a crazy amount of pop. Not a crazy amount of contact either. Like, he's just a fun player to watch. How is he defensively? Now, defensive runs saved for shortstops are a little tricky. Not a great defensive shortstop either. Too many good players, not enough outstanding players. Maybe Ray. I think what the problem is here is that, what does outstanding look like to you? Name a player that you think is out. Okay, what's a lineup in Major League Baseball that has a lot of outstanding players? The Jacob Wilson trade idea was sick. I don't know. I think people are just sick of talking about trade hypotheticals. I don't know. People didn't like that video though. What's up, Nathan? Yeah, but give me a line like okay, let's say give me the 2025 Dodgers have a lineup of outstanding players. But like they're the Dodgers for a reason, right? The Red Sox are never going to be able to do that. Right? The Red Sox are never going to be able to do basically 6 MVP players. Yeah, coming into 2026, right? It's like they're 1 through 5 have all gotten close or won an MVP. Like the Red Sox not gonna be able to do that. And give me another team that has like legitimate outstanding player. Like one give me a team that has like 3 or 4 outstanding, like in your opinion, outstanding players outside of the Dodgers. I don't think the Yankees have 4, or I don't even think the Yankees have 3. Yeah, but I'm talking full lineups here, Teddy. Blue Jays, how many do you think the Blue Jays have right now? Like how many truly outstanding? Like when you say outstanding, right? You gotta think about from coming into 2026. Give me a team with legitimate like outstanding players, but specifically 2026. Like Springer was really good last year. Springer's also going to be 36 this year. So you going to be able to do that next year? I don't know. Right? I'd put him in the outstanding now, but that's an iffy outstanding. Vlad is for sure outstanding. I don't think you say Santander is an outstanding player at this point. Like if the Red Sox had Santander, they'd be like, it's fine, right? Kirk is fine. I don't think he's outstanding. He's a good player, but this is what I mean, right? Good teams have a couple, like 2, maybe 3 outstanding players, and then they have a lot of good players, right? The Phillies, yeah, okay. I'll give you the Phillies, I think. Like Trey Turner, I think outstanding. Schwarber, I think is outstanding. Harper, I think is outstanding. Outside of that, I think that's it. Stott was all right. I would say Stott was good. I wouldn't say he was outstanding. The Mets are a good one, I think, but that's because the Mets bought a lot of these guys, right? We're talking about the top payrolls in baseball here. Francisco Lindor, I think, is outstanding. Soto, duh. I would put Bichette in the outstanding category for sure. Luis Robert, Simeon, I don't think is outstanding anymore. Polanco, I don't think is outstanding anymore. Talk about dodging a bullet on Santander. I know, dude. But so my point in saying that, hey, we need more outstanding players is you go to the Red Sox projected lineup here, and it's like Roman Anthony. I think you could put him in potentially outstanding, right? I think a lot of people are going to say not outstanding yet. Like the Rangers got named the number 1 left fielder in baseball. You have to put him in outstanding here, right? Was Story last year enough to be outstanding? I don't think so. So all right, let's say Durant and Roman Anthony are 2 outstanding players. The difference, one of the interesting things here is, Willier could easily be in that outstanding category. If he stays healthy and hits 30 home runs with Gold Glove defense, that's an outstanding player. I think Marcelo has all the capabilities in the world to be a outstanding player. He just needs to stay healthy, especially if he's only going to be playing righties this year. Cedon, I don't know if he'll ever get to outstanding, right? I don't know that he'll ever be like, oh my God, look at Cedon go. But I mean, you look at every year, it's like I get this was 28 games, but he went from 76 WRC plus to 81 WRC plus to 91 WRC plus. Okay, let's say next year he's at 100 WRC plus, the league average OPS. Let's say he's there. Well, all right, what does that look like in terms of impact plays, right? He had 20 stolen bases last year. Maybe it's a 22, 23 next year. RBIs, he had 63. Maybe that's at 68, 70. Runs are probably in the 90s. Home runs are closer to 20. Are we starting to get into outstanding territory here, right? It's like, to me, outstanding players feels a bit objective, right? Because I could sit here and say, okay, this guy has Gold Glove defense. He's a league average bat, and he could give you 20 home runs. You love the Red Sox roster, but they'll fall short in the playoffs. It all depends, dude. It really does all depend, right? Pitching wins championships. That's what they've always said, right? That's been the phrase amongst baseball since God, I can remember, right? I remember hearing that with the '07 Red Sox team. With Lester and Beckett and all those guys. Schilling on the back end here. Willier's more of a platoon player. Right now, you could make that argument, Mike. I will see at the end of this year. That's my point, though. That's my point. Like last year, the Red Sox had what? How many runs scored per game? No, this is total. But they had the 7 total runs here, and you essentially you have the same offense as you had last year, right? Essentially. Because Wilson Contreras puts up very similar numbers to Alex Bregman. He does strike out a lot more. I'll say that. Not a lot, but definitely more. And you had the 7th most runs in baseball last year. So like if your offense or if your pitching is a top, let's say top 3, top 4 pitching staff in baseball, and you have the 7th best, runs scored in baseball, is that a team that you're a little bit of afraid of coming into the postseason? Yeah, you absolutely should be. Yeah, Diamondbacks were offensively really good last year, at least until the deadline. But this is my point, right? Like at the end of the day, pitching's going to win you a championship. And if you can be a top 10 run scoring team in baseball and you get to the postseasons and your offense is, or your pitching is, like absolutely insane. Like here's the problem is everyone goes, but the Texas Rangers are the best ERA in baseball and they didn't even make the playoffs. The difference is the Texas Rangers had the 22nd, where'd it go? The 22nd most runs scored, right? That's so different. I don't think the Red Sox will be 22nd in baseball. Maybe they drop to like 9th or 10th here, and it's only separated by like 30 runs. So like, even with the team constructed, you're talking about a top 10 offense in terms of runs scored. And then let's go over the pitching and you're like, hey, the Red Sox were 5th last year in overall pitching. What happens if they jump to 3rd? And I think that's very possible. So my point in all this big long rant is you sit there and you're like, hey, is the offense potent enough to win you in a postseason? As long as they're good enough to score runs in the postseason, like last year they were just unhealthy, right? You've Roman Anthony in that lineup. Alex Bregman isn't still dealing with his quad thing. Marcelo's healthy. You probably score a little bit more runs, and a little bit more runs last year means you're in the DS. There's no perfect answer. Yeah, but MV. Okay, so I'll have this conversation about Eugenio Suarez's defense once again because I feel like people aren't understanding me. I get that, you'd pick apart his outs above average and you could say, hey man, Eugenio Suarez wasn't a terrible player. Fine. Yeah, he was able to get 2 balls. That's what outs above average is, right? It's essentially your range. Were you able to get to baseballs? The problem with Eugenio Suarez was never his range, right? It's always been his ability to utilize and get the ball to first base, basically, right? I mean, let's go up to just the number stats here. Errors. This dude is averaging over 10 errors a season, essentially. There were seasons where he had 23 errors, 16 errors last year. I get it. 12 of those were with the Diamondbacks. That doesn't matter to me. It's still 16 overall here, right? And you got 10 errors last year. 8 errors, not bad. Well, okay, we can deal with that, right? 10 errors, 8 errors, 5 errors, 17, 19. You just don't know what you're going to get. And here's the problem. Is you could go back and you could say, hey, man, back in 2023, Eugenio Suarez was fine. Right? You're not getting 2023 Eugenio Suarez. You're getting 2026 Eugenio Suarez. And if you're going to say, hey, man, he was dealing with an injury, the dude's going to be 34 years old. You think he's going to be injury-free for the rest of his career at this point? It's just not going to happen. Right? It's just not going to happen. He's going to eventually start to get injured as well. And that's why I kept saying in my videos here, you're seeing that regression when it comes to walks and it comes to defense. And that's only going to get worse, whether you want to talk about just simply not being able to get to balls that he used to be able to get to, or if you're talking about whether or not he can play through injuries like he used to, right? And both those things are going to affect his defense. So even if it's a one-year deal, you're still talking about, one, Eugenio Suarez at 34 years old at third base, and two, you're talking about Eugenio Suarez, 34 years old, Trevor Story, 33 years old, and Wilson Contreras, 34 years old. You're telling me you're okay with that deal, and I get it. 34 in the grand scheme of things is still really young. At least a guy who's going to be 28 in a week exactly, you're still relatively young, right? But in baseball terms, those injuries start to get a lot more difficult to come back from. And if you've already had Trevor Story, who's had his injury for a while, if you got Wilson Contreras over there, who's dealt with injuries over the last couple of years, and now you want to put Eugenio Suarez over there, who was bad defensively last season because you're trying to say, hey, maybe he was working through something. Now you got three guys who could potentially all at the same time be working at something. And that's concerning to me, right? If you had the DH spot open, you could rotate these guys in, fine. But even if you DFA Masataka Yoshida, you're going to use that you're going to use that DH spot to rotate through the outfield. Yeah, the strikeout things drive me crazy. Strikeout things will always drive me nuts with him. Yeah, and we should have signed Corbin Burns and not Chapman. Get off the box on this dude. My goodness. Get off the box on who? What box am I on here, Mike? What box am I on? What's up, Red Sox World Series? I don't see anyone else walking through that door. Options are limited. Yeah, and I think at this point, right, it might be a more beneficial idea for the Red Sox to just go with the youth in the infield in those two spots, whether it's Marcelo and Romy or Marcelo and Sogard at third base, and then you figure out second base. Maybe it's Campbell, maybe it's Romy Gonzalez. I mean, at this point, that might be what you're going to end up doing. Either that or you suck it up and you overpay for a second baseman. Honestly, I like where we're sitting as a team heading into this season. I like our future as well. We may not be a World Series team this season, but then again, you never know. I think you're a legitimate, like everyone outside New England thinks you're a legitimate contender. Literally everyone outside New England. New England's the only people who are saying, hey man, the Red Sox suck. Like if you go to any other team, if you talk to any other national reporter, they're like, yeah, these guys are good. They're a top 10 team in baseball. Davey, been here for 28 months, man. We're talking over 2 years as a member of Red Sea Radio. And not only that, but Davey's not even a Red Sox fan, man. Can we get some claps in the chat for Davey? Thank you so much, man. I appreciate you. I really do. How much realistically do you think we'd have to give up to get Marte? It'd have to be Duran, Tolier Early, easily. I would imagine Arias is probably in that deal, and then you figure out that fourth name. I'd rather run Campbell back at second over say. Yeah, anyone over Cedon at second base, please. Everyone trying to acquire another bat is gonna look real dumb when Nick Sogard wins 2026 AL MVP. Hey man, listen, Sox content. We have been Sogard believers, brother. It's gonna pay off this year, I believe. We're the splits. Let's go back to his lefty, huh? Look at that lefty. Talk to me, Sogi. Talk to me, Sogi. How much do we need to trade for Nico? It sounds like they want at least at least a pitcher and a prospect and a top pitcher, by the way. Wow, NBC's gonna have Clayton Kershaw on the calls. That'll be cool. Gonna be a pitching team, not starting to. It will be. I think this team will make the playoffs as it is, but I don't think this is a World Series team. We're in the window of opportunity. Now is the time to build a championship ball club. Yeah, listen, MV, I'm with you. I'm with you 100%. But we can't sit there and say, hey, man, let's build a championship ball club. Throw your money at anyone who could be relatively interesting, right? It's got to be a good fit. Just came across a clip of Prime Xander. Dude, listen, I'll keep – oh, man, I forgot to put out a TikTok today. That just reminded me. I'll keep putting it out there, dude. Xander Bogaerts will be fun. Xander Bogaerts will be fun. What do they do to address the constant swing and miss now offense? I can't even remember off the top of my head what Wilson Contreras looked like. I don't think it was pretty in terms of swing and miss, because that's really your only offensive addition, yeah? You kind of just made your offense, in terms of swing and miss specifically, worse. Right? There's no arguing that. I think in terms of swing and miss at this point, right? You gotta just kind of hope that. I genuinely think you would have to hope that, Roman swings and misses less, Marcelo swings and misses less. I don't think Story's gonna swing and miss less. I don't think Narvaez or Duran are gonna swing and miss less. Cedon didn't really swing and miss that much, honestly. He just didn't walk. So literally gonna have to be the Red Sox saying, Wilyer, Marcelo, Roman, you guys gotta swing and miss less. That's the answer. Getting Xander back would be like getting Carlos Correa trade, right? Yeah, for sure. How much did how much did the Twins take of that? You're not in it? Thank you, Alec. I'm glad you're not in it. Oh, I totally agree, MB. I totally agree. I think Wilson Contreras will be a good influence. Why? Okay. No, it would have to be more money than this. Mark, dude, how many goddamn times do we have to sit here and have this conversation? I mean, genuinely, how many times? Do you want me to say the same thing? Do you want me to say the same thing I've said to you 20 times? Because I can. We can go over the spiel again. You're intrigued by giving Mikey Romero a chance at second base? Brother, I would love nothing more than Mikey Romero cracking the team. I just don't know that it'll be opening day. I can tell you this right now. That dude is coming into spring training gunning it. It's a question. It's a question mark that you've asked how many times this offseason? How many times have you asked it? Please don't. So then why do you ask the question? If you don't want an answer, why'd you ask the question? What up, J.A.? Mike Romero is going to strike out 40% of the time right now. Yeah, so that's what I mean. I think he needs. There's a couple of things, and I talked about it earlier in the live stream here that he in my opinion needs to kind of iron out before he gets the call up. Right. I think obviously the biggest one is consistency with the bat. There were times in AAA when you were sitting there and you're like, okay, like yeah, hell yeah, and there were other times where it was like, okay, he's clearly outmatched a little bit. Finding a good middle ground here would be perfect. A lot of swing and miss. A lot of swing and miss in AAA last year, yes. Overall, I don't know if I would say he has a ton of swing and miss. What is it, 20% overall? Yeah, AA was tough last year, but then like overall 23% last year. I'm okay with the 23% strikeout rates. 17% the year before. 17% the year before that. He was at about so this was the year I'm focusing on, right? Are we talking about Arias? Not yet, but Arias would be interesting. Don't know much about Mikey Romero, to be honest with you. I have a pretty in-depth video on the channel, actually. It's a Dustin Pedroia. What's up, George? It's a Dustin Pedroia curse at second. Yeah. It's haunted. I think his hit tool content. I think his hit tool overall is good, right? I think you look at some of like, especially as you're looking through like the rest of the seasons here. There are years where it's like, oh God, that's tough. But a lot of these kind of early years too, his 18, 19 year were played like he played 34 games in 2023. You know what I mean? So I think 2024 and 2025 are the sample sizes I'm using. You could see you could see the true like contact ability there. You could see it, right? And I don't think his ground ball rate was too bad. Do they have that? I don't think they do. No, his ground ball rate was solid actually. 34% is not terrible. Pulled the ball a lot. I like that for a guy who doesn't have a ton of power. Use your pull side, right? Line drive solid. I think overall. So I sit there and it's like, yeah, you see the tools. It's just about finding consistency. The second he finds consistency, you're talking about, and I do think there's a reason, and I've said this before the stream, I think there's a reason here that Mikey Romero hasn't been traded this offseason. There have been a lot of trades the Red Sox have made, and Mikey has not been in a single one of them. He's not even been rumored into a single one of them. So either teams are underrating him or the Red Sox want to keep him. How many games am I going to this year? I don't really go into the season with an answer that's spotted. Usually just when opportunities come up. Like I know I'm going to opening day, so I'll be there for opening day. I might actually do a vlog for opening day. I don't know. Down the line, hypothetically, what a world it would be to see Arias at shortstop and I think realistically, if you want to do the perfect world scenario with your prospects right now, it'd probably be Marcelo at third, Arias at short, because I think Arias, even with as good as Marcelo Meyer is, I think Arias might be the better defender. Mikey at second base, and then like ideally in terms of like potential, you put Casas at first base, but that's just because you don't really have anybody else. And I still believe in Tristan Casas. I want to put that out there. Do the Red Sox do a third trade with the Cardinals? I don't know, dude. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize you worked for the Red Sox. I don't know that the Red Sox are comfortable doing a third trade with the Cardinals. I mean, at that point, you're just recreating the entire Cardinals team. You know what I mean? Like a surplus of pitching still left in free agency is causing a delay in the Sox being able to move one of their arms. When's the next members only stream? We were figuring that out earlier. Is it tonight or is it tomorrow? Tomorrow looks like. Kind of. I would imagine no, Alec. Honestly, because there's a difference between like a young Conley Early and like a Zach Gallen. You know what I mean? Assuming Myers at third, potentially platooning with Roman. Would you prefer at second base Campbell, Cedon, Romy, or someone else? Seems like it could be a rotating door. It's going to be a rotating door, I think. Ideally, MV, I said this earlier in the stream, I think the answer is you platoon Marcelo with either Nate Eaton or Nick Sogard at third base, and then you have Romy playing a majority of second base. I think that's the answer. I can't get up under the monster baseball. I don't have a pass. What would I put the odds at there being another trade? Well, what kind of trade are you saying, Graffiti? Do I think there'll be any other trade before the regular season? I would say like a 90% chance there's a trade. Do you mean like a legitimately impactful trade? I don't know. Is that is that what you're looking for? I have to wonder if the front office can't find a deal in the infield. They'll surprise people and pivot to a high leverage reliever and just have a super high floor pitching staff all around. My only issue with that, Sox, is you're probably going to have to trade for that reliever, and what do you give up for a high-leverage reliever? Like, you can't really give up any of your offense for that. Right? You can't do that. So like, what do you trade? Like, you're not gonna trade Arias for a high leverage reliever. And I don't think, like, as much as I love Mikey and as much as I'm sitting here saying if he gets to the big leagues, I think you guys will be surprised. I don't think you could trade him to a high leverage reliever. See, the Yankees signed a 13-year-old. Yeah, they agreed to a contract. The Red Sox actually did that early in the offseason, too. I see them trading Sandoval for whatever. They can dump his $9 million. Yeah, maybe. He's just out here grading my ability to dude, like, I feel like you think you can do a better job. I'd be curious, man. Start a Red Sox channel. Let's see. In my opinion, Kyle Harrison's the perfect type of option to trade to get a great reliever. I don't know. That one for one, I don't think Kyle Harrison gets you a legit high leverage guy. Although I don't know, right? Like, there can't be too many. Also, at the same time, like, could Kyle Harrison just become the high leverage reliever for the lefty? Like, because you would want to get a lefty high leverage guy. You've got Chapman closing. You've got Whitlock in that that setup man. And you've got the potential of Slayton and Weiser too. Like you just need another high leverage lefty. Could just Kyle Harrison be that high leverage lefty? That's another question you got to ask you. Like, is it worth giving up Harrison for another high leverage lefty when you can just make Harrison a high leverage lefty? I don't know. But like, I'm trying to think here. Let's go pitching. Let's go relief pitchers. Let's go left-handed pitchers. Let's see what we got here. What do you even like judge on this? I imagine just ERA, expected ERA. Like Josh Hader, he only closes. Remember that? Jojo Romero, but then that's another trade with the Cardinals. Like, I don't think the Cardinals want any more of your pitching prospects. Sean Newcomb, low key. Do we still have Wilson? No. Aaron Ashby. Like, there's interesting names, and maybe you're right. What's up, Joey? I was being genuinely honest with you. Like, if you like you can critique me all you want, that's fine, brother. Yeah, okay, cool. It just sounds like you think you could do better. And my question to that is, go ahead and try. Like, if you don't like what I'm doing on the channel, it's not incredibly offensive to me. I'm just saying, if you think you do a better job, do it. When you're starting a World Series run, which should be now, I'd take 2 years of a proven reliever over our 8th starter. I don't think you're totally wrong, but my point is, like, is Kyle Harrison alone going to be able to get you any of these guys? Right? Like, is Minnesota maybe? Maybe they take him for Aaron Ashby? Like, he's been solid the last 2 seasons. Like, that'd be a name you'd be interested in getting, right? I don't know. That's my question. Is you sit here with this, and it's like would the Twins want to give up this guy for a Kyle Harrison? Maybe. But are we absolutely positive? Like, it pretty quickly gets to 3 here. Like, the 20th best left-handed reliever in baseball has a 3.02 ERA. Could you see? Could you see Kyle Harrison kind of sitting in this, like, let's say, like 320s, 330s range? I don't think that's totally impossible. If the Red Sox can kind of let him air it out, it's an interesting conversation. I actually low key kind of think. I low key kind of think that's what the Red Sox are planning on doing. I think that's why the Red Sox haven't gotten a high leverage lefty yet. I think I said that early in stream too. Well, okay. So I don't get it. Let me break this down for you a bit. In terms of going through film, I've said this before. I've said this 1,000 times. You're usually in here. I'm sure you've heard this before. I cannot put film into my videos. Every time I put film of a player into my videos, I lose my ability to monetize these videos. Now, you don't care about that, and that's fine. I get that. But I do, right? I'm trying to pay my rent. I'm trying to make this a full-time job. And if I can't get monetized on these videos, I don't get paid, right? So I can't put film in this. So there's your first question. What was your, I can't even remember your second one. Oh, I'm terrible at breaking down big moves. That's more of an opinion, right? That's kind of just your opinion. And I respect the opinion, but I can't really change my entire perspective on moves from the Boston Red Sox. The third thing that you said is that I'm not good at interviews. Okay. So you didn't give me any constructive criticism. You just said it needs work. So what specifically in this interview or in these interviews do you not like? Yeah, right. It will always bother me. I can't believe you don't think we could get Mason Miller for Harrison. I'm devastated. Yeah, I'm not surprised, content. Yeah, dude, you do a great job of clipping those things, but I'm like, man, like I put 10 seconds of it into my videos and boom, there goes the entire video. MV, becoming a member of the box seats, my man. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Does being demonetized only affects that video? But again, if I start putting footage into every video, all of them get demonetized. That makes sense? Your questions are lacking. Name one. What's one idea, E? Versatility with a 35-month resub, man. 35 months. 35 months, he says, what will really blow you away is he hates my work so much that he wastes his time watching every single stream. You're not wrong. It's about footage. For example, you never ask the community for some questions you should ask. Embrace the community. So here's the thing, E. I'll explain this to you too. Like again, I'm not like attacking you or anything. I'm having a conversation here. As much as that would be fun, I don't do podcasts, right? I don't do a 25, 30 minute, 40 minute conversation with somebody. That's never been my channel, right? I think the longest video on my channel, specifically video on my channel, is maybe 27 minutes, and it's from a vlog, right? So when I do interviews, the entire purpose of one, if I'm doing in-person interviews, they're in Worcester. They're getting ready for a game. I can't sit down with somebody for 35, 40 minutes and go through a bunch of questions. Two, if they're over Zoom, I have to continue to make sure that this video stays within a 25-ish minute range. Now, the reason I bring that up is because I sit there and for me to pick through some of these things, it's got to be, one, the flow of the conversation has to make sense, right? I can't go from, hey, Mikey, how was Fenway Fest to, hey, this is a fan read question. Do you like sausage or do you like bacon better in the morning, right? It doesn't make sense. It throws off the entire interview. My entire job as a YouTuber, not a podcaster, a YouTuber, is to ensure that this stays relevant and it stays interesting and it stays within a certain time frame. So there's your answer as to why I don't do community stuff. Does that make sense? Under over, Rafaela plays 3. It'll be over. It'll piss me off, Christian, but it'll be over. Have I read chat? Rafael has to be an everyday center fielder. Yeah, I agree. He has to be. If he plays second base, I'm going to be heated, dude. They have enough second. We've talked about this. They have enough second base options. Like, you can't break this down. Should I just do, maybe I'll just do 2-hour podcasts instead. No, I don't want depth charts. Platoon lineups? What do I think realistically you'd have to give it for Marte? It would be Duran, Tolley, Arias. Sox. I refuse to believe that that's true. I refuse. I refuse to believe it. This is, in all fairness, Fangraphs is lining up with me perfectly. It really does. Like, their platoon is Nick Sogard at third base. Boom. That's exactly what I said. But at second base, right? If you keep this up, you've got Sogard here. Maybe instead of Eaton, it's David Hamilton to start the year. And so now you've got Romy and David Hamilton at second base. And now you've got Nick Sogard and Marcelo Meyer at third base. And I think that's exactly what you do. What's the footage I do use that does not get demonetized? Things like scouting videos, minor league videos I'm usually okay on. Like batting practice. Like during spring training, I use a lot of this great guy. His name's Nick. It's the 27th Man podcast. Fantastic. But he goes down to spring training every year. He records everything. I can use that in videos as long as I credit him for it. But I cannot use MLB licensed stuff. Just I don't know if it's just me. Like I see like Fuzzy uses it a lot. He actually cut a deal with MLB. Like he talked to an MLB rep. I tried to do that. No one answered me. What do I think about Campbell in 26? I don't know. I don't know what to do with Campbell in 2026. Where is Pablo Reyes now? What's Pablo Reyes up to? Yeah, Draftneck Mark also talked to MLB. He got in contact. Fuzzy gave him the contact. There's a lot more righties in this lineup opposed to last year? Yeah, it should be. Pablo Reyes was with the Padres? I didn't know that. Do I agree with that? I think the answer is MV. I don't know. Right? I don't know. Romy's never been an everyday starter for 162. Especially like I'm not really paying attention to his Chicago White Sox days just because he's an entirely different player now than he was in Chicago. The question is like the concern I think people have, MV, is not so much can Romy Gonzalez be a successful player. It's how many question marks can you have on an infield before it's an issue, right? You know, Marcelo Meyer, I imagine he's going to be a good player this year. He hasn't shown that he can hit every single day against lefties. He hasn't shown that he can be healthy. Romy Gonzalez, I think, could be really fantastic second baseman, but he hasn't had the opportunity yet to play 162 or show us that he can play 162 or show us that he could be a productive player over 162. Now, Romy doesn't need to be the number 3 hitter that he was last year against lefties. That'd be nice. But even if he was like a number 8 hitter that just consistently sits around that 250-ish average, right? Still a really good player. The problem is we just don't know yet, and I think that's the answer. See, you gave yourself up. Now I know you're trolling. Yeah, I'll throw $10 on Roman Anthony with plus 1,700 odds. Why not? What is that? $10 turns into what? 170? Yeah, I'll do that. Every year I put $50 on the Red Sox making the playoffs. Won some money last year. I like Romy. I don't want him to be our everyday anything. I think you're. I don't think you're in the wrong for that. The problem is you might have to, like, I don't think Romy Gonzalez will ever be like a 150 game player, right? I don't think that's who the Red Sox want him to be. I'd imagine he probably has the capabilities. I don't think that's who the Red Sox want him to be. Especially when you're looking at, you know, the idea of them really wanting Marcelo Meyer to platoon over at third base. Who's the best platoon on the field? It's Romy Gonzalez, right? But at the end of the day, Who would you rather have at second base every day? Versatility. That's the answer, right? If you don't pick anybody else up, who's your second baseman? You know, like Marcell is going to have to be third. So would you rather Nick Sogard over Romy? No, right? At least not right now. Gleyber Torres is on the Tigers. I don't think the Tigers are going to trade him for nothing. Would you rather David Hamilton as your everyday second baseman? I imagine no. Right? Bring up Mikey. I don't think he's fully there yet. Arias, he hasn't even played at third base or second base. Meyer and bring in Suarez. Dude, I can't stand the idea of Eugenio Suarez. I can't do it. I will say today, Chris Cotillo broke it down and talked about, hey, maybe the Red Sox just waited out so long. This dude's just willing to sign because he doesn't have any other market. If that's the case and you get Suarez for like, what was he projected to get at the beginning of the season? What was Suarez projected to get at the beginning of the season? $2 or 3 year deal worth between $40 and $72 million. Look, so let's go off of just the 6 years or 3 years, $63 million. Let's say like 15 mil. Okay. If you wait him out long enough and you get him for like a 1 year deal for like $7 million, I don't think I'm going to complain about Eugenio Suarez all that much. Right? I'm still going to be annoyed that you went from Rafael Devers to Alex Bregman to Eugenio Suarez. I still don't like the bat all that much outside of the home runs. I still don't like the defense all that much outside of his range. I still don't love the idea of having 3 dudes on your team that are more injury prone because they're going to be 34, 35 years old. I still think it's a terrible idea, but if you're going to get them for $6 or $7 million, like I can't sit here and complain all that much because at that point, it's worth it instead of trading away Early or a Tolley to get a second baseman. The only positive I can give you, Kevin, is that Tristan Casas is way, way younger than Chris Sale, so his ability to bounce back from injuries is much, much easier. Like that's the one thing I sit there where I'm like, fine. $1 year, 15 mil, would I do it? No. Because that'd be about what he was projected to get. Again, I said if I'm the only way I'm signing Eugenio Suarez is if you're getting way less than what he's projected to get. Even at like $8 or $9 million, I think I'd be all right with it. Right? I think I'd be okay with it. My other thing too is like I said this before, if the DH spot was more open, then you don't have to trade more. I see what you're saying. Listen, I get, like I said this at the end of my video, like I get the appeal of Eugenio Suarez, and there's a reason he's played, 12, 13 years in Major League Baseball. It's just like trying to squeeze. It's like trying to squeeze a square peg into a round hole, right? Like, yeah, the square peg might be gold, but it's still a circle that you got to fit it into. Yeah, and like maybe you could kind of finagle it a bit and it works fine. I don't know. Like, especially for $20 million a year, even if you give him a $15 million signing bonus, he's on the books for $5 million. I don't know. Suarez, I just don't think it's a good idea. I worry about, like, there's so many, like, yeah, Sox content said, like, there's so many signs that Suarez is going to regress heavily. And with these dudes who are 3 true outcome guys, once we start seeing the regression, it's just a boom. It's not really like a nice long curve. It's just a boom. And it just feels like there's a reason the only teams who have been even remotely connected to Eugenio Suarez this year have been the Pittsburgh Pirates, who are the bottom, basement dwellers, whatever. The Seattle Mariners, who just gave him up and don't appear to be remotely interested in it, and us. And the only reason the Red Sox are connected to him is because everyone's like, they need an infielder. And he's available and can hit home runs. You know what I mean? Like, there's a reason for that. Teams are terrified of this guy. The problem in the trade market isn't looking great, and we could use some major league depth. Yeah, but you can't make Eugenio Suarez major league depth. You know? Like Suarez is in depth. Nathan Hickey's not appealing on the trade market. Not a good defender, not a great bat. He's not appealing on the trade market. I don't know, Chad. Suarez frustrates me, dude. I think what frustrates me the most about Suarez is like Versatility said. He was like option, like I've tweeted it before, like before Bregman went down, before Bichette went down, before Alonso went down, before Schwarber went down. Yeah, if you trade Abreu, you're dumb at this point. If you're the Red Sox, you need the home run power there. I don't disagree, Versatility. I would rather take the chance that Roman hits over 20, that Willier hits over 20, that Contreras hits over 20, that Story hits over 20, that you get 4 or 5 guys in there that hit over 20. Because then you're like over half the lineup have hit 20 home runs. I think you're fine. I don't know. I'm just so sick and tired of this. Like at this point, like, just do something. Like, I get it. You're trying to figure out the best. You're trying to be smart. And you're trying to finagle it. Just do something. If that something is either signing Suarez, I'm not going to be psyched. Like, I'll talk about it and I'll be like, look, here's why I think the Red Sox signed him. You know, here's the positives. Go Suarez, right? But I'm not going to be like, yeah, hell yeah, woo. If they trade Willier Abreu for Isaac Paredes, I will lose my mind. I will. I'll lose my mind. Yeah, but here's the problem. Here's the problem, Versatility. Here's the problem. With Suarez, yeah, you sit there with 35 home runs. Like he hit what? 7th or 6th, 7th, 8th for the Mariners. And they didn't have a ton of guys who hit a bunch of home runs either. Like, they had guys who hit home runs, but not like 30 or 40 home runs. There's a reason for that. If Eugenio Suarez, I said this in the video, if Eugenio Suarez comes in and he's your number 6 or number 7 hitter, great, fantastic, right? But as a number 3 or number 4, it just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't. I don't know. Again, if he ends up signing here, which it low key kind of feels like they're on the path to doing exactly that. Like, I'm not going to sit here and do a live stream where I'm just complaining the entire time, right? I'm going to find, you guys know me. I'm going to find the positives, right? As we're looking at options right now, I'd rather just see what the young kids got than put all your faith in 3 33-year-olds, 2 of them with injury histories, one of them who, has played a lot but has dealt and played through injuries. How much longer can he do that? I think that's where we're going to leave it tonight, Chad. I appreciate you being here. It means a lot to me. There's absolutely nothing going on amongst Red Seat Radio, amongst Red Sox baseball. So the fact that you sat here and shot the crap with me about the Red Sox means a lot. Buy a keyboard. Meek, you're a dog. Thank you. I'm going to buy one right now. Means a lot to me. Really does. For those of you who resubscribed or remembered, became a new member. Thank you so much. We'll be doing our members only live stream tomorrow. We're just gonna have a game night. We're doing a game night. We're gonna do a bunch of fun stuff. So that'll be a good time. Yeah, it's been miserable, Versatility. Hopefully we get something. Tomorrow I'll be back for a video. What that video is gonna be, I I don't know yet. It might be a Roman Anthony video. How Roman Anthony's going to take over Major League Baseball. We'll see, though. All right, everybody. I appreciate you being here, and I will see you all in the red seats.